A Soho House basic bitch. Always a Soho House basic bitch.
Jeffrey Epstein was also Harvey Weinstein, very prominent. There were members. Meghan Markle was just one of the working girls for Soho House. Call girl, working girl, escort, whatever you want to call it. That's what she was.
Before Meghan Markle ever became the Duchess of Sussex, she had already mastered one skill far more effectively than any royal etiquette lesson: the art of networking her way into power.
Meghan has always had this very, very strange fascination with Soho House, very much this weird obsession with it.
Forget the tiaras and palace rules. Meghan's real crowning achievement was her ability to spot influence faster than anyone else in the room.
Back in her early days, she was totally reliant on Soho House to pay for her travel, to pay for her accommodation.
And standing beside her through every strategic move was one man, Markus Anderson, the same man tabloids now call her social architect.
This guy has been around all of the time. Isn't that suspicious to you? Because it is for me. It is something strange.
Let's be real. Meghan didn't exactly stumble into royalty. She climbed that ladder in designer heels, latte in hand, and Markus was the one holding the door open for her.
Without Markus Anderson, I hope to prove to you in this video that Meghan Markle wouldn't have the level of global fame that she enjoys now.
While most actresses were struggling to land a single line in a pilot episode, Meghan was sipping cocktails at Soho House, the exclusive club Markus Anderson helped run, and effortlessly rubbing elbows with the elite as if it were part of her job description. Some call it ambition, others call it carefully calculated social strategy. But whatever label you choose, Markus Anderson was there through it all. Her confidant, her guide, her bridge into a world she seemed determined to reach. And over the years, the whispers and rumors surrounding their friendship only grew louder, because behind the polished smile and the modern princess image lies a story of drive, influence, and a partnership far more complex than most people realize. And if the hints associated with Markus are anything to go by, that story is where things start to get complicated.
He is like a parasite, always lurking in their shadow. No normal family has a constant third wheel, male or female, leeching onto their every move. Markus is practically glued to them.
Before Markus Anderson ever crossed paths with Meghan Markle, he was already the man everyone wanted to know. The guy who could turn a nobody into a somebody with just one well-timed introduction. Born and raised in Ontario, Markus didn't come from family wealth or royal bloodlines. What he did have was charm, connections, and a rare ability to make powerful people feel like they needed him. By the time he joined Soho House, the members-only sanctuary for the rich and restless, Markus had perfected his craft. He wasn't just managing parties, he was curating influence. Politicians, actors, executives, and heirs, all blended into the same plush lounges. And Markus moved through it all like a king without a crown.
Markus started off at Soho House London as a waiter, and he was a global membership director when he first met Meghan.
That's where Meghan entered the picture, a rising actress filming Suits and already craving more than Hollywood alone could offer. To Markus, she wasn't just another actress trying to score a table. She was ambitious, polished, and unmistakably ready to climb. He saw potential not just for friendship, but for strategy. And when Markus welcomed Meghan into the Soho House circle, everything shifted. Suddenly, she wasn't just a supporting actress on cable TV, she was a name being whispered in the rooms that mattered. Markus didn't just open doors for her, he practically redesigned the guest list. He became the keyholder to an elite world, and Meghan knew it. It wasn't about romance or gossip. It was about opportunity. Together, they began building connections that would shape her future, one cocktail party at a time. What Markus couldn't have predicted, though, was that this glittering friendship built on access, ambition, and timing would eventually place his name at the center of one of the most talked about royal narratives of the decade.
You know, this is what Meghan has been doing. She's a piece of Klingon, you know, like she clings to somebody who can get her there. So Meghan manages to befriend one person of a very popular group, and then that person introduces her to the others. And because she's being brought in by somebody they trust, she's welcomed in.
When Meghan Markle and Markus Anderson's paths finally crossed, their connection was instant, not romantic, but electric with ambition. Markus wasn't the type to waste time on small talk, and Meghan wasn't the type to settle for small dreams. Together, they became a social power duo built on strategy, charm, and impeccable timing. Markus saw something in Meghan that others often overlooked. Someone who could blend Hollywood glamour with royal-grade social finesse. She was articulate, camera-ready, and always planning her next move behind a polished smile. And Markus, he held the keys to every backroom dinner, private villa, and whispered gathering of the global elite. So when the two started appearing together at Soho House events, people noticed. Meghan quickly shifted from that actress from Suits to the woman everyone wanted at their table. And behind the scenes, Markus was quietly shaping the next chapter of her social evolution.
Now, his job was to go to a new city wherever they were opening up a new Soho house, and his job was to find the best and the brightest of that city to invite to the founding members party. And they didn't just invite anybody. To be a founding member, you really had to be somebody in the social scene of the city where they were opening up.
He introduced her to designers, philanthropists, and influencers who could polish her public image. He
introduced her to designers, philanthropists, and influencers who could elevate her public image. He arranged quiet getaways that doubled as networking opportunities, including one now famous weekend at Soho Farmhouse, the exclusive countryside retreat where Meghan is reported to have first met Prince Harry. It wasn't luck, it was logistics. Guided by Markus's invisible hand. To him, it was friendship. To Meghan, it was acceleration. Every introduction brought her closer to the future she imagined, and Markus appeared to enjoy watching her evolution. But as her spotlight grew, so did the whispers. People began to wonder, was Markus simply helping a friend rise, or was he playing a subtle role in one of the most talked about royal romances of the decade? Because when ambition and influence collide, nothing ever feels like pure coincidence.
And that ridiculous story about how they first met, the whole thing was a tissue of inaccuracies, to be polite.
When Meghan Markle stepped into royal territory, many of her old friends quietly faded into the background, but not Markus Anderson. While others kept their distance from the growing royal spotlight, Markus stayed close, perhaps closer than some inside Buckingham Palace expected. He wasn't a noble, a politician, or a member of the royal staff, yet he always seemed to appear where it mattered, whether it was private celebrations, luxury trips, or pre-wedding gatherings. Markus's name surfaced again and again, like an echo that refused to disappear. To some palace observers, he stood out, an outsider who somehow navigated the gates of one of the world's most closely guarded institutions. His connection to Meghan wasn't just accepted, it was noticed.
Meghan Markle only becomes prominent for Soho House, guys, after she starts being on Suits and she's introduced to Markus Anderson. And then she gets more consistent and more prominent work, okay? Because then she could be in the presence of Markus Anderson.
Royal aides began whispering about the man who had Meghan's ear long before Prince Harry did. He wasn't bound by royal protocol, yet his influence seemed to reach places no courtier could touch. And Meghan didn't hide it. Markus was her constant, her emotional anchor amid the chaos of royal duties and relentless tabloid scrutiny. While the palace focused on decorum, Markus offered something Meghan craved more: familiarity and loyalty from her old life. But that closeness stirred unease. The royals valued distance, discretion, and hierarchy, and Markus, with his Soho House confidence and celebrity-packed guest lists, simply didn't fit the mold.
He is the perfect person to be a highly paid consultant now for Soho House because he never puts a foot wrong. He never says anything about anyone.
It didn't take long for whispers to turn into speculation. Was Markus simply a supportive friend, or a gatekeeper quietly shaping Meghan's narrative behind the scenes? His presence blurred boundaries, raising the question no one at court wanted to voice: how much influence did this outsider really have over the Duchess? In a world built on secrecy and control, outsiders rarely remain inside for long. It began quietly, a whisper in the press, a fragment of a conversation allegedly linked to Markus Anderson. But in the royal world, even a whisper can explode like a bomb. Within hours, headlines spread across continents, portraying Markus as the man who knew too much about the Duchess of Sussex and wasn't afraid to speak. One alleged private comment about his bond with Meghan quickly spiraled into a tabloid frenzy, turning friendship into something scandalous.
Markus fulfilling another role with Meghan Markle, and about there being lovely sailing days on the beautiful blue ocean.
Inside the palace, the reaction was immediate panic. The royal PR machine went into what insiders called containment mode. Staff scrambled to trace the source of the leak, desperate to stop any further exposure. Meghan, already under relentless fire from the British tabloids, now faced a fresh storm. And this time, it wasn't a faceless critic or an anonymous source, it was someone she had publicly called her best friend. The irony was brutal. The very man who had helped shape her public image had now, intentionally or not, fed the same media machine that threatened to dismantle it. Markus remained silent, no denial, no clarification, no defense. His silence became its own story, fueling endless speculation about what he really knew. Behind closed doors, tension reportedly grew between Meghan and Harry. Trust felt fragile, and every old photo or resurfaced rumor seemed to add gasoline to the fire.
Meghan Markle has never been a member. I don't know if she's become a member now, but she had been working for Soho House since at least 2005.
For Meghan, it wasn't just about reputation, it was about betrayal, real or imagined. When your closest friend becomes the center of a royal scandal, there's no easy escape. For Markus Anderson, the man once celebrated for his discretion, one leak was enough to turn him from trusted confidant into potential liability. Once the story hit the headlines, the royal circus went into overdrive. Tabloids smelled blood, and Markus's name became one of the hottest topics. From London to Los Angeles, photos of him and Meghan from years earlier resurfaced, smiling at parties, traveling together, whispering during events. Each image was reinterpreted, twisted, and exaggerated into proof of something more than friendship. The narrative snowballed. Meghan became the manipulative duchess, Markus the secret keeper, and the monarchy, the innocent victim caught in the chaos.
They just wanted to land a rich man and make easy money.
Behind the palace walls, things were far less composed than the press releases suggested. Senior aides launched an unofficial operation to control the narrative. Calls were made, stories pulled, journalists warned. Meanwhile, Meghan's team worked to humanize her, releasing carefully worded statements about loyalty, privacy, and friendship, but the effort felt like trying to stop a hurricane with an umbrella. Every clarification seemed to fuel even more speculation. For Meghan, the emotional toll was immense. She had already been painted as a disruptor within the royal family, and now her closest friend was being cast as her accomplice. Markus, however, disappeared from the spotlight entirely. No interviews, no statements, no public appearances. And in the absence of his voice, the silence only amplified the noise.
He knows, and everybody all around the world, that you would want to know. The very rich, the very connected. Anybody who is anybody would be in Markus Anderson's little black book. And he's never betrayed a confidence. He's never made a slip.
To many observers, the royal institution's desperate attempts to control the story revealed something deeper: fear. Fear that Markus might say more. Fear that he could confirm rumors the palace wanted buried forever. Meanwhile, Meghan's supporters rallied online, but the damage to her image had already been done. In the world of monarchy and media, perception is power, and once it slips, even the crown can't get it back. 4 years after the scandal, Markus Anderson remained a ghost. His name was whispered in royal gossip circles, but rarely spoken publicly. Then, unexpectedly, he resurfaced. Not with a tell-all book or a dramatic interview, but with a subtle remark at a private event, one that somehow found its way online. His words weren't explosive, yet their calm, reflective tone made them quietly revealing.
So this is way back in 2006. I wonder if Trevor ever knew about this. People can have double lives because look at these pictures could not be shown in the United States, all over North America, only in certain countries. And I don't think Trevor would even thought back then of going through a VPN and seeing where Meghan Markle is or what she's doing.
Markus admitted he had stood by Meghan through every storm, hinting that much of what the public believed was never the full story. He didn't deny the friendship, nor did he apologize for it. Instead, he described Meghan as someone deeply misunderstood, yet fiercely determined to survive. It wasn't a defense, it was a truth bomb wrapped in diplomacy. Insiders interpreted it as Markus quietly reclaiming his image while protecting hers. Others saw it as strategic damage control, a way to reset the narrative without reigniting old fires. Yet the statement reopened wounds. Why speak now? Why, after all the silence? The timing fueled speculation that Markus wanted to distance himself before more rumors emerged. What struck many, however, was his restraint. He didn't attack the royals, nor did he expose Meghan. He simply confirmed his loyalty, even after being dragged through global scandal. To Meghan's critics, it was manipulation. To her defenders, it was proof of enduring friendship. To everyone else, it was a reminder of how entangled power, privacy, and ambition had become. Markus may not have betrayed Meghan, but his quiet revelation made one thing undeniable: the truth about their connection was far more complicated than anyone imagined. Because sometimes the real story isn't in what's confessed, it's in what's left unsaid. After Markus Anderson's subtle revelation, the storm finally began to fade, but the damage lingered like a permanent shadow. Meghan Markle, once the dazzling outsider who shook centuries of royal tradition, found her circle shrinking almost to nothing. The glamorous brunches, secret weekend trips, and bustling social life she'd enjoyed before royalty were replaced by tight schedules, private security, and carefully measured trust. Markus, once her ever-present confidant, quietly retreated back into the private world he had always mastered, far from flashing cameras and royal chaos.